welcome to the Rob Bro Show. I am Rob Bro. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can co-host today by commenting on the starting line chat line. The starting line chat line right on the side of the page, brought to you by startinglinecounseling.com. You get a 15-minute consultation with Chase. Go to his website, startinglinecounseling.com today. First question off the starting line chat line. So since Houston sucks at home, they win tonight and the Rangers finish them off in H-Town, right? Also, my D-backs have life after all. A walk-off win for the D-backs. Runaway victory for the Astros. The Astros now have won 2 straight and looked pretty good. The offense has not looked good for Texas in stretches, except for Josh Young, who hit 2 home runs the day we talked last. Did not look lost at the plate last night. He's now up to 6th. Have you seen the lineup?
I have not seen the lineup for today, no.
Leody Taveras up to 5th. Garver down, Lowe down, Young to 6th.
All right.
So there it is. Allen's hitting up Chase after witnessing Game 3 in person. That was a beatdown. That was a beatdown.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for Josh Young, the Rangers lose 8-1 or 8-2, something like that in Game 3. So Game 4 wasn't much better. They've been 2 beatdowns. I mean, Game 3, the score is a little bit closer because it was 8-5, but the score wasn't indicative of the game because it felt like the Astros were just putting it on you.
Has it felt like you're just kind of waiting for Jordan Montgomery to get back in the rotation?
Yeah, it kind of is just like the Rangers are just like, you know what? We kind of figured we might lose these 2 games. Yeah. Maybe, we got Jordan Montgomery and Nathan Eovaldi up in 5 and 6. So give ourselves a chance to win those 2.
You haven't seen your closer, obviously, because you haven't been up or close. But you also haven't seen Chapman, who I thought could have pitched the 6th yesterday. You haven't seen Spores, who I thought could have pitched the 6th yesterday. You just keep running out these arms you haven't used in a while. When I saw Heaney was the starter, I thought, okay, let's see what happens. I did not expect much. I thought Dane Dunning could have gone longer. I thought Dane should have gotten the start. But again, I can't second guess Bruce Bochy, who's been right so many times. We talked about that on the last show. Bruce Bochy is a wizard and generally makes a bunch of right decisions. The Astros are really good. They were going to get a couple. You weren't going to sweep the Astros. I still think you can win in 7, but I think this is definitely going 7 now. I think you win 1 more at least. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, as soon as I got started watching Game 3, I'm like, man, I was really high. I think I got too fan friendly for the Rangers the other day, saying they were going to win in 5. I started thinking to myself, this Astros team, they're not bad. Altuve is really good at the top of the order. Mauricio Dubon has been the best player for the Astros here in the playoffs so far, especially at the plate. I feel like the dude just gets on base. I mean, he gets a broken bat flare single in Game 3, and then they hit a home run right after, or they hit a couple doubles, and they score the 8th run right afterwards. So to push the lead back up from 7-5 to 8-5. So Mauricio Dubon's been the X factor for the Astros lineup just because he gets on base. He pushes the lineup last night in the 2-hole next to Altuve. I mean, Altuve is 3 for 4 last night. Dubon's 2 for 5. One of those was a robbery of a base hit too from Dubon. So, I mean, and if you think about it, Game 3 could have been much worse if it wasn't for Leody Taveras robbing the Yordan Alvarez home run as well in center. So, this Astros lineup, you've kind of awakened a beast. It's nothing that we haven't seen all year from the Astros. I mean, their lineup at times would go cold, and then you get them on the road, and all of a sudden they heat up. And all the Astros hitters have talked about, the clubhouse in Texas is maybe nicer in the visiting clubhouse than their home clubhouse. So they love being at Globe Life Field. It's like, home away from home. So, you take an hour plane ride, you're in Houston. There's really hardly any travel for it. It's not like it's a total away game for either of these 2 teams when they go on the road. That's why the Rangers were easily able to get off the plane and go win on the road at Houston the first 2 games. And so it's going to be a series. I got a little too ahead of myself, got too high on the Rangers too quickly, and now I'm regretting it. And now it's almost like, Houston, I feel like, is the better baseball team.
Yeah.
Just all around. They got the best bullpen out of the two teams. They might have the best bullpen out of anybody left in the playoffs.
But I
Because
still think it's really close.
right. Yeah. I think this goes 7, and now my meter has swung to the Houston Astros winning in 7.
I'll still lean Texas just for fun, but yeah, I was I was real worried when you were going off about Texas winning in 5. Somebody else said they were going to sweep. I think I said 6 just because y'all were getting me into tizzy, but
Yeah, you said 6. I was hyped up. I was
yeah,
excited about the first 2 wins, and I let that cloud my judgment.
sorry, it happens to the best of us, man.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, it is what it is now. The Rangers play. I don't want to say this because it didn't happen at the end of the regular season with their backs up against the wall. But sometimes if you put a team like that with their back up against the wall, what are you going to get? And the best thing is that you got your best 2 starters available here in games 5 and 6. So that's the good thing for the Rangers. If you can get a good start out of Jordan Montgomery for the second time in a row, that's great. Still this one at home, and then have to win 1 on the road at Houston. That's the best. If you lose this one, it's going to be really tough to win the last 2 games in Houston, where all Houston's got to do is win 1. And so I think if the Astros win tonight, the Astros win the series. The Rangers win tonight, the Rangers have a chance to win the series, but I still think it goes 7, and the Astros pull it out in 7. Because you
Tonight,
got Verlander going tonight.
yeah, tonight Verlander Montgomery. We don't need to spend another hour on the Rangers again.
No.
We did that on Wednesday, but uh, Montgomery again, he has been absolute lights out. The last couple of games in the regular season, in the playoffs, you absolutely have the opportunity to win tonight at home. The roof is closed again. You have a new look lineup. You're going to go out there at this game's at 4-3
4:07 to be exact. Yeah.
at Central or Eastern.
It just says 4:07 p.m. I would assume that's my time, our time, Central Time.
We got 4:07 Central, and then I guess the D-backs aren't off, huh? I guess they're Mountain Time, so they'll be late.
The D-backs are 2 hours behind, so they're 7:07 our time.
All right,
5:07 in the desert.
that makes sense.
Yeah, they don't do daylight savings there.
Yeah. All right. I guess you want to give you said the Astros lose tonight or win tonight?
The Astros win tonight. Verlander gets revenge, and then they win in 7. Texas wins 1 in Game 6 with Evaldi pitching, and then they lose in 7.
Okay.
I'm changing my prediction.
I'll take it opposite. I'll say the Rangers win tonight, and then the Astros take care of business in Houston.
Fair enough. Alan did say Texas is due for a home win. Dew theory needs to come up big today.
It does. It does.
If the Rangers want to have a chance to win the series, you got to win today.
Haven't worn the Peagle hat for the World Series yet, so I've been shuffling through hats. This is my 3rd Rangers hat, I think, in the World Series. So had a couple of wins in one, and then you lost, so I changed, and then I lost in the throwback last night. So now now I've got the Peagle hat.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's working.
We do our best as fans. That's all we can do.
That's all you can do. We're not superstitious. We're just a little stitious.
Yeah. All right, Texas Tech and BYU. Game tomorrow at 5:00. I really don't know what BYU is good at, but they're 4-2. They've not looked great in any game. They beat Sam Houston, who's 0-7. Now they've been competitive, Sam Houston, but still 0-7. They beat them 14-0. They beat Arkansas on the road, which at the time looked like a really nice win. Arkansas, competitive SEC team, but they're not very good either. And then you have, a win over Cincinnati and a Big 12 loss. to TCU, which looked like the worst Big 12 loss of the year almost. So, what are they good at? What are you seeing from BYU? What are your thoughts on the game?
Uh, I mean, what is BYU good at? It's being BYU at home. That's one thing. They're really good
True.
in Provo.
True.
Um, Anytime you get a visiting team to visit Provo, Utah, it's going to be tough. The TCU game last week. Sometimes things happen in games, especially on the road in a new conference against new teams. Now, BYU and TCU aren't new to each other. They were Mountain West rivals back in the day when they were both in the Mountain West Conference. BYU wasn't great back in those times. They did have some sweet unis back in those days, though. I do like their uniforms now, too. But anyways, BYU, and if you look at that Arkansas game, I really point to that Arkansas game because Arkansas, even though they've struggled some in the SEC, they've lost every game by one score, except for the A&M game. The A&M scored late to make it 34-22. But BYU is one of those teams who they can be really flashy. Keaton Slovis is one of those guys. I mean, at USC, he could be really good for a game. And then he was mid-level, mid-major type quarterback in some games. So if you can make Keaton Slovis turn the football over,
Yeah.
that's good for you. If
I mean,
Keaton Slovis has
on his third school.
right, yeah, and if he has one of his better days because he's been around the block and he's done things and he sees your defense well, then Keaton Slovis can pick you apart. He's got the ability to do that. He's still he was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, very high touted quarterback going to USC, played as a true freshman at USC. He's that kid. He can be that guy. Now, is he that guy every Saturday? No, but you also have a true freshman that's going to be playing quarterback for you on the road in a hostile environment because Provo, Utah is not an easy place to play.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. It gets loud in there, I've heard.
So allegedly on the freshman quarterback thing.
Yeah, allegedly on the freshman quarter. Okay, yeah. I mean, Provo's a tough place to play, yeah. Not allegedly, just is.
And they've got fire dancers and
Cosmo's going all over the place,
jumping around. They've got a flaming jump rope he's jumping around on.
Yeah, they have one of the best student sections in all of college football, and it's crazy because I don't know that those kids can even have alcohol before the games. They don't even need it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Alan Corbin could be our guy telling us this. I don't know if he's been to a game in Provo or not, but he did say BYU is always good for a mid-October home loss. And that's true too. But it's going to be tough, man. I just don't have a whole lot of optimism going into this one, being that you might be with a true freshman quarterback in his first ever college football start on the road in a tough environment against a team that knows how to win. I mean, Keilani Sitake's teams have been winning the last few years. They've been good. It did help that he had Zach Wilson as his quarterback one of his first couple of years on the plane in the job there. But those students are hyped on missions and Pepsi. That's a fact. But I think it's going to be tough, man. I don't have a lot. I think BYU wins, especially if the true freshman is starting. But I don't think it's going to be a pretty game by either team. I think it could be 31-28, 31-21, something like that. I don't think Texas Tech can score 30 points if that's your situation, unless Taj Brooks is carrying the ball 35 times and he's just a man on Saturday.
Well, and I don't want a high scoring game because that means you're running a bunch of plays.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to cut,
especially with Jake Strong.
Yeah, I want to cut the game in half. I want to slow it down, and I want to run Taj Brooks. They're in the hundreds of rush defense, just not a great defensive team, not a great offensive team. Now, you aren't either. And I would say the Big 12 teams that have been in the Big 12 versus the newcomers have an inherent advantage of depth. But I don't think Texas Tech has that right now because they're so banged up.
Yeah.
So I don't think Texas Tech has the advantage of being a Big 12 team for years in front of BYU. And I think BYU's roster was the most ready to come in anyways. So, man,
Yeah.
it feels like a bad spot for Texas Tech. It feels like a bad spot for BYU because it is a newcomer versus an oldie, and oldies have a great record against newcomers this year. But something has to happen on Saturday, and I also have BYU probably winning a close game.
Yeah. And it's also, you talked about the injuries. Joey McGuire on his coach's show last night said that Matt Dowdy, the SID for Tech football, had and a friend of ours had come up with this number that there are 237 starts of guys that are injured and won't be able to play this week. That's 237 games of experience that you are not getting on the field on Saturday in Provo, Utah. That's insane to me. That is a lot of football. That is a lot of football games combined of the group who is not playing in this football game on Saturday. So,
and it means a lot of freshmen are playing instead.
Right. And
Baskerville's not playing. Okay, Brendan Jordan, you're out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, it's hard to pick a team, fan or not, just looking at it as a person who is a college football quote unquote analyst, if you will, for the second. Texas Tech just isn't a team right now that has depth. They're not a team that has depth at the right positions. If Jake Strong were to go down, if Baron Morton doesn't play, Jake Strong gets hurt, you're playing a wide receiver at quarterback. Yeah. It's not a good recipe for success. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just not.
It could be Ryan Tannehill. Who knows what Brady Boyd has, but it just doesn't seem like that's the greatest.
Brady Boyd didn't even play quarterback in high school, though. And neither did Coy Aiken, and he's the guy that's after Brady Boyd. And the only reason Coy Aiken's not playing quarterback before Brady Boyd is because Coy Aiken's at the top of the wide receiver depth chart right now.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those deals where I just don't think you have enough horses in the stable to benefit you enough to get a win in Provo, Utah. I just don't. It's just going to be tough. It is a big game for both for both teams because BYU, if they win this game, they only got to win one more to assure themselves of a bowl appearance in their first year in the Big 12. I think they're going to be the only team maybe of these first year teams. Cincinnati does have a chance, I guess, but I mean UCF could too if they win in Lubbock. But with that.
Hey, that's
bad loss to Baylor. UCF is putting themselves in a tough position, though.
That UCF Texas Tech game is going to be pivotal.
Yeah, and for Texas Tech, this is a big one because if you win, you get back to 500 at 4-4.
You only have to go 500 to finish the season to be bowl eligible.
That's it. You got to go 500 to finish the season to be bowl eligible, and so that's a huge one. It's a big one for Joey McGuire because he showed that, they could win on the road at Baylor. Baylor and BYU, I don't know that there's a lot separating the talent level on either one of those teams. I think they're kind of similar in the quarterback play. I think Shapen's actually a little bit better than Keaton Slovis. And you kind of took care of it. If you can put pressure on Slovis like you put pressure on Blake Shapen, then you're going to have a chance. The defense has to be really good. You've got to get good games from your outside edges. You've got to cover well on the back end. Like you said, Baskerville not playing, true freshman going to be playing in that role, and Jordan. So, and then you're going to have to be a little bit better on the back end of that defense. They've got some good wide receivers, this BYU. And this BYU defense, so I think they can give up points. So I'm not saying Texas Tech can't score. I'm just saying you're going to have to control the ball a little bit more. Like you said, Rob, You can't do your, run 50 plays in a half, because if you try and do that, you can go 3 and out real quick, and your defense is going to be right back on the field real quick. And if that's the case, you're in elevation. They traveled today. They didn't travel early like they did to Wyoming, because Joey said that the elevation didn't really affect them. Disagree with that, because I thought they were gassed in the fourth quarter, and it showed. But we'll see. It's one of those deals where I don't really care when you travel. You could travel tomorrow for all I care, if that's what you do.
Yeah. Win, huh?
Just go find a way to win. It's not that it's not that hard of a recipe for success. It's go find a way to win. Don't care what it looks like. Don't care how it is. If you win 2-0, you only get a safety and you don't score and they don't score, so what? Right? It's at this point in the season, there's no more X's and O's, complaining about this, complaining about that. It's go win football games, and then we'll figure out the rest later. That's the only thing you need to worry about right now. And it doesn't matter how you do it. I don't care if I see the ball put in the air 15 times tomorrow and it stays on the ground for 40 between Cameron Valdez and Taj Brooks. I just don't care.
What about the opposite?
I would be pissed if it's 40 throws for Jake Strong.
But if you win,
15 carry. But if you win, then Jake Strong might have had a good day to Miles Price on the quick screen game. I think you're going to see a lot of those shorts. Or Baron Morton started, exactly. Yeah.
All right.
If you're throwing it 40 times, I think.
No offense to Jake Strong. He had a tough first go at it, but that was a rough. That's probably the roughest spot to be in all year.
It's a lot of bad decisions right there.
Well, after that first half, coming in the second half, and then you throw it 28 times in your first action ever.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot.
He wasn't helped out by his coaching staff either. I mean, they didn't help him.
That's what I was saying. Scarlett says it is spooky season, so anything can happen in October. We'll see if something crazy happens this weekend. I could absolutely see something going crazy in Provo. Could absolutely see that. All right, let's look around the horn at the rest of the Big 12 games. You said 31-28. Are you picking BYU?
Yeah, 31-28 BYU.
I think I was a touchdown shorter than you, 24-21 or something like that yesterday on the show. So, but I still think BYU wins a close one. I want Texas Tech to win. I liked your comparison that it is similar to the Baylor game. I think BYU actually is a lot like Baylor, so you should be able to win. Just do you? And I don't know. I just don't know. All right. Taj Brooks, by the way, 786 yards, 786 yards. Does he hit 1,000? Yes or no?
Yes, and it should be 800 plus from last week, but Kitley decided he didn't want to give him the ball anymore for whatever reason. We don't know.
He had 98.
Yeah,
not a bad day at the office.
He should have ran for $150 last week.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Wouldn't have helped that you gave up 5 touchdowns to their freshman quarterback, though.
Yeah, Taj Brooks not playing linebacker.
No,
he's not.
He's not Jordan Brooks.
No, he's not. Come on, Kenny. What was that guy's name? The running back who had to play linebacker.
Kenny Bell.
Kenny Bell?
Kenny, no.
Not Bell.
And then he ended up going to, because he couldn't hold on to the football. He ended up going back to running back and then transferring to Texas Wesleyan.
Did he transfer?
To finish his career out as a 7th-year senior, I think.
Oh, I didn't know he transferred.
Yeah.
Anyways, 23-16 Texas Tech from Allen. Roy says 35-13 Tech. We lean on Taj, and McCray breaks off a big one on a return.
Man, that score would be fun to watch.
If you win 35-13, then
Baron Morton started.
Yeah. Or Jake Strong just turns around and hands it off. You score on defense, you score on special teams, and you have a lot of things go right. I mean, a 35-13 game would be impressive, especially on the road, because that would cut your overall record with Joey McGuire to 3-6 on the road. If you win. All right, 11 a.m. on Saturday, UCF. Speaking of UCF and Oklahoma, Oklahoma 6-0, UCF 3-3, 3-0, 0-3 on the Big 12 slate for both teams, respectively. Minus 17.5 Oklahoma. Who you got?
Oklahoma.
To cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Dylan Gabriel's going to just shove it.
Yeah.
Against UCF.
The old school coming home to Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty for the for the Golden Knights in Norman. It just ain't going to be pretty.
Coming off a bye and everything else.
Yeah, it's not going to feel good for old Gus and the Knights. No.
Baylor, Cincinnati on ESPN Plus. Cincinnati minus 3.5 here. They are defeated in Big 12 play. Baylor 1-2, but Cincinnati and Nippert, they have the advantage, minus 3.5. What do you think?
This one's hard because neither team's very good.
Both bad.
You said the line was Cincinnati 3.5. Oof.
Yeah.
Fine. Give me Cincinnati 3.5 at home. But also give me the under of 49.5.
That's what I took yesterday.
Yeah.
I took the under.
Yeah.
I would not bet this game. I would not touch it at all.
No.
Just for fun, I'll take Baylor opposite of you just to do it. Emory Jones is really bad.
Man.
But flashes.
He's no Desmond Ritter. Let's put it that way. I think they thought he might have the Desmond Ritter effect on the Cincinnati team, but he just is not. And it was Kenny Williams. Yeah, Kenny Williams.
Did you look that up? Or
yeah, I looked it up.
I knew it was Kenny.
2014 was his last year at Texas Tech.
Yeah. Well, when you're having running backs play linebacker,
yeah,
so things aren't going well.
That's a fact.
Oklahoma State, West Virginia. West Virginia minus 3.5 at home. Allen the Showman Bowman, though, 2-0 in his last 2 against Big 12 teams.
Tell me this, Rob. How do you throw for over 1,000 yards and only 4 touchdowns with 3 picks?
You throw to the sideline.
Your name is Alan Bowman. That's how you do it.
But look, I watched the second half against Kansas.
Yeah.
They did not throw past 6 yards.
He can't. He doesn't.
He doesn't.
I mean, when did he do that? I mean, the only game he ever played well in Texas Tech with throwing the deep ball was at Oklahoma State. The game he won in Stillwater.
No.
Yeah.
Houston.
Yeah, Houston
Lamar,
was
he was pushing it down the field.
Lamar.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but Oklahoma State was his best show, and obviously he's feeling it in Stillwater. Of course, Mike Gundy looks like an absolute moron right now because Alan Bowman's undefeated as the starter right now?
No, he started against South Alabama.
Did he start against South Alabama? Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, wins against Kansas State and Kansas. You've won the Sunflower Showdown. Now you got to see if you can beat anybody outside of the Sunflower State. Yeah. Going to West Virginia, country roads. Can West Virginia, Garrett Green do it? I think they do it.
Yeah, coming off a bye.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Houston was last week. It was just like on a Thursday.
Yeah. It was a Thursday or Friday night game. One of those two. West Virginia wins at home. Burn the couches. Country roads take me home.
I'll take West Virginia too. I don't trust Neil Brown, but
I don't trust Mike Gundy either.
I'll take Neil Brown over Alan Bowman.
I don't trust Alan Bowman or Mike Gundy.
Yeah. And I don't think Oklahoma State is going to win 8 games.
No, they've squirreled off. They've squirreled off the last 2 wins. They're not going to do it a third time. No.
All right, Texas, Houston. This is a 23.5-point line. I'll let you decide who's in favor. In Houston, and it is sold out, standing room only.
There's going to be a lot of burnt orange.
A lot.
A lot of burnt orange in the TDFCU stadium there in H-Town. Man, Houston, can they cover the 23.5? That's the only issue I have right now. I think Texas wins by 3 touchdowns, but I don't know if it's going to be by more than 3 touchdowns. So give me the Cougs right there to cover.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Donovan Smith 1-0.
Yeah, against the Longhorns. Yeah, Dogovan to cover. That's right, Roy.
So we'll take Dogovan. All right, TCU Kansas State, the final Big 12 matchup. Kansas State -6.5. I'll take TCU here. What say you, Carson?
I'll take Kansas State.
Do they stick with Avery Johnson? Because this is going to be Avery Johnson versus Hoover. What's his name?
The backup quarterback for TCU?
No, well, he's starting now. Hoover.
Well, yeah, he's a starter. Yeah,
Josh
Hoover.
He absolutely slaughtered BYU.
Yeah, how about that?
He threw 2 picks, but he threw 4 touchdowns.
Does that say that Sonny Dykes was just giving Chandler Morris the starting nod because his last name was Chandler Morris and who his dad is? Or
I don't know what their deal is with Chandler Morris. I don't. He's not very good, right?
I mean, Chandler Morris was 1,500 yards. He had thrown for 12 or 13 touchdowns, 4 picks on the season, I think. So it wasn't like he was terrible, but they just weren't moving the football with Chandler Morris. I felt like the offense was a little stagnant at times. You put the new kid in, the Hoover, whatever his name is, and he goes off on a tear. He did make a couple mistakes last week, but their defense also was really good against BYU. So that's the best I think we've seen the TCU defense look since they played Michigan last year. So, yeah, Kansas State wins at home, and I think they keep it going. I think you'll see Will Howard play. You'll also see the true freshman play and Avery Johnson, just because I think that quarterback run game is so tough with their offensive line, especially you pull the guard, you pull the center. That is a tough play to cover on any defense because you're covering up the first level, the 3 guys, the down linemen. Then you're going and taking care of the 2 linebackers that really pursue. And then you've just got to be able to take care of a couple more guys, skip a tackle of a defensive backfield guy. And Avery Johnson's fast enough. He can run away from everybody else on the field. So we're talking about a kid that won the state track meet 3 years in a row, won like 3 state championships in basketball, 2 in football, 2 in baseball. I mean, the kid's just an athlete.
Yeah.
And so I think Will Howard plays in this game quite a bit, but you're going to see Avery Johnson run the football a lot too.
Avery Johnson is going to be the guy the rest of the year. Will Howard will start.
Yes.
But Avery Johnson's the guy. I mean, he took it over.
Yeah.
And Roy says, is Sunshine really that good? Texas quarterback run coverage blows. 5 touchdowns, but how many of those did he go untouched? That's the point.
Yeah, that's the point.
He can find a hole. He can hit a hole, and he is very fast.
And he was patient. He was really patient for a true freshman to look like that. And quarterback's a strong word for what he was last week because he only put the ball in the – how many times did he throw the ball, Rob?
I could look it up, but not like 10 times maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And those were quick hitters or just a play action style and trying to put it up in the air just to keep the Texas Tech defense honest, which in that, he threw it.
He was 8 of 9. 8 of
both
9.
quarterbacks threw it 9 times. So they threw it 18 times total for 163 yards.
Yeah.
His longest, it doesn't give me his longest, but the average yards per pass was 8.6 yards. So they were completing it and doing a very good job of doing that. But the run game was what killed you. 15 or 13 rushes for 90 yards. Of those 13 rushes, 5 of them were for touchdown. He rushed the ball almost as much as Trayshawn Ward did at the tailback position. And that's what a Kansas State quarterback does. I mean, let's be honest. They run the football more so. I mean, who was the last quarterback? Alex, the transfer from Nebraska. Aaron or Alex
Martinez.
Martinez. Thank you. Adrian Martinez. There you go. He ran the football really well as a quarterback. So, and
against
tore you up too.
2 really long runs.
Yeah. So
let's move on from Kansas State. I don't want to relive that one again.
yeah, fair enough.
All right.
Kansas State beats TCU at home.
Look around the horn. Top 25 matchups. Penn State, Ohio State -5. This one, 11 a.m., Big Fox.
Yeah, in the shoe. Give me the Buckeyes. I think the Buckeyes have figured some things out. Ryan Day's got McCord playing really well. What McCord doesn't do and what Allard doesn't do is turn the football over. So both these quarterbacks are really salty, really about how they don't want to turn the ball over. So I think that it comes down to quarterback play. It comes down to which defense can get a turnover, which defense can cause a turnover. That'll be who wins the game. I think Ohio State's defense is better than Penn State's defense. Ohio State wins in the horseshoe, and I hate it. I want Penn State to just beat them, and the Ohio State thing goes away for another year. Because I feel like the Big Ten kind of needs some more new blood up in the top. I mean, Penn State's been there. James Franklin took them to the Cotton Bowl a few years ago, played Memphis and absolutely murdered them. They're always knocking on the door, but never getting into the club, right? Like they're always the person who always left standing outside while everybody else is going around the line and getting in. So Penn State needs this one.
They're Leach era Texas Tech.
Right. Yeah. They're Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy in the mid 2010s.
Yeah.
They're right there. They just couldn't get it done. So, I think Penn State has a chance, but I don't know that they can get a win in Columbus come Saturday morning.
Tennessee, Alabama -9.5. Give me the Volunteers to cover in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I like that pick. I like the Vols to cover. Neither quarterback, Milton or Milroe, gives me great confidence in either one of them.
No.
But yeah, I like Tennessee to cover. I don't know if they're going to win, but I like them to cover. I hope they win, though. Rocky Top, Tennessee.
What do you think about South Carolina over Missouri? Missouri -7.5 here.
The Fighting Beamers. He broke his elbow or separated his shoulder last week doing something. Beamer did while he was celebrating.
I missed that. Rattler.
A couple weeks ago. I don't know what they were doing, but anyways, he did something in the 41-39 loss to Florida. South Carolina can't play defense.
No.
They did against Mississippi State. Mississippi State, not good. They held Georgia to 24 points. Georgia doesn't care about scoring that many points because their defense is going to let you score 80 points anyways.
Yeah, they're controlling the game.
They gave up 41 points to Florida, who's not a good football team. Missouri's going to win at home. The Battle of Columbia goes to the guys in Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, that's probably the right pick, but I want you get big game Spencer Rattler every once in a while. Cook's been good at Missouri, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Your favorite head coach in the world, though.
I just hate quits. That's what it is. Can North Texas and Emo cover against Tulane? Tulane -20.
The short answer is probably not. They can cover, I think. Chandler Rogers is sneakily good.
He's more than sneaky good. He is really good this year.
He has been pretty daggum efficient for Eric Morris's offense. Only one interception on the year. I think he's thrown for 12 touchdowns. Emo's not asking him to do a lot. He's asking him just to control the offense and run the offense. I think North Texas is a year or two away from being one of those teams like a Tulane in the American Athletic that can make some noise because of Eric Morris's recruiting ability in the state of Texas. I think that he's kind of going off of the blueprint that Jeff Traylor did at UTSA, getting a bunch of this, these guys in the Dallas area metroplex. You don't have to leave I-35 and go that much further south than Mansfield to field a great roster at North Texas. So I think Eric Morris is getting there. I think they cover at Tulane, but they will not win. Would love for them to get an upset win at Tulane, though. That'd be cool.
We'll take a cover, too. I agree with you. Tulane's only lost to Ole Miss.
The only bad part about North Texas getting better is that you play them next year in the non-conference. It's Texas Tech.
It'll be a tough one at home.
It's going to be a tough one. I'm telling you. It's not going to be easy.
Minnesota at Iowa, Big Ten matchup. Iowa -3.5 at Kinnick.
Yeah, give me the Hawkeyes. Minnesota. PJ Fleck is just
they just never got there, huh?
No. They wanted him to be Western Michigan PJ Fleck. They got not row the boat PJ Fleck.
They got Western Michigan PJ Fleck. They just didn't get the upgraded version.
Yeah, that's right. They got the MAC version. They got a MAC head coach.
It's a MAC team playing in a bunch of Big Ten games.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're exactly right. They'll upset a couple people. They'll win some games they shouldn't, but they never win the big games. So yeah, Iowa at Kinnick. Even though they all want Brian Ferentz fired at Iowa, I think the Hawkeyes still win.
Pac-12 game, Utah, USC -7. Utah has their number, but USC coming off a loss. What do you think here?
Caleb Williams wants some revenge for last week and last year. The Cam Rising game. Cam Rising was just stupid good at the end of that game last year. Utah's defense made a big stand, got an interception off of Caleb Williams late in that one last year. That was a fun game to watch in Pac-12 after dark last year, man. I tell you what, at Utah, great atmosphere. This one at USC, not going to be that great of an atmosphere. USC, the stadium is big. There's a lot of people, but I feel like that atmosphere just lacks. Like it's the fans are far away.
It's too big.
Yeah, it was built for an Olympic stadium. It was built for the Olympics. I mean, let's figure out a way to build yourself a nice stadium for USC closer to campus and put yourself on campus for once, USC. Be better. You got plenty of money. You can't tell me USC doesn't have enough money to build their own stadium, 50, 60,000 seat stadium, 70,000 seat stadium in Los Angeles to go into the Big Ten with. Come on, man. But Utah loses at USC. USC covers the 7.
Agreed. All right, that's all the games I wanted to talk about.
You don't want to talk Duke, Florida State?
Oh, dude, that is another big one.
Yeah, that's another big one. Yeah, the Dukie's going to Tallahassee.
That could decide a couple of things in the ACC.
Yeah, it could. Very easily could. It could also decide Florida State's playoff hopes.
Give me Florida State.
Yeah, I like the Noles at home in Tallahassee. Talk about a good atmosphere. That place is a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
14.5 Florida State. You think they cover 14.5 though?
No.
I don't either.
Duke to cover. But
I'll take Duke to cover, Florida State to win. I think Florida State wins by 10.
That's a surprising line.
It is a surprising line, to be honest. Over is 49.5.
You know what? Because I'm so surprised, just give me Florida State because Vegas knows something.
Vegas knows something that we don't know.
Yeah. Let's just take Florida State to cover there.
Okay, I'll take them. I'll take Duke to cover, but Florida State wins.
I do like Elko.
I do like Elko.
He was I don't know if he was in the mix, but he was on my short list the last time you hired a coach.
Yeah, for Texas Tech. Yeah, because he was the offensive coordinator at Defensive coordinator at
You got it.
Nope, I don't got it. Where was he?
A&M.
At A&M. That's when Texas Tech was hiring. Yeah. He's done a phenomenal job at Duke.
Yeah.
And
David, I'm not second guessing the Joey hire, but
no,
Elko's doing pretty good at Duke.
I think the Joey hire was good. It just there's not a whole lot of Division I head coaches. Urban Meyer in his heyday couldn't make Texas Tech a good football team right now with a true freshman, with a true freshman quarterback. You'd still be struggling. Yeah, it just is what it is. With all the injuries that you have, it just has not gone the way that you want it to go for Texas Tech this year as far as staying healthy. And that's what we talked about early in the year too, Rob, is you have some depth, but you've got to be able to stay healthy in that depth. And even the depth is injured. So, so when that happens, it's tough to reboot yourself a little bit.
When was the last time we hired a defensive coordinator for a Tech head coach? Spike? Was he a defensive or offensive coordinator?
Great question. I think it was defensive. But yeah, I can't remember. I don't know.
I don't know what Tommy's was Tommy ever a coordinator at all?
Tuberville? I don't know that he was ever a coordinator. I'm sure he was at some point.
Some coaches just go straight to head coach. I don't know what his history is coaching. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't either. He was a
defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
A&M,
at Miami.
So
Miami and Texas A&M.
Tommy was the last one.
Yeah. So Tuberville was your last hire head coach from and he wasn't. And I think what Roy's asking is a guy coming straight from defensive coordinator to head coach. Tuberville had been a defensive coordinator before he was the head coach at Ole Miss, at Auburn, and Texas Tech, Cincinnati.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Let me see if Spike was.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. Spike was. It just says. Yeah, he was. He was the defensive coordinator at Texas Tech from 1984 to 86 until he was hired as the head coach. I knew that. Just making sure.
Mitchell says, we excited for a Rangers dub today. That would be awesome.
Be great.
You need it.
Verlander's going to come out pissed. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, Monty's been good. We'll see if he can keep him down at home with the roof closed.
You think they'll close the roof this afternoon, or has it already been said they're closing the roof?
It's closed.
Okay. Because it was open last night and balls were still jumping off of Astros bats. So I don't think it worked the way that the Rangers wanted it to last night.
I don't think it matters.
No.
I mean, your dong is donging him out regardless.
Good thing is he doesn't hit lefties as well as he hits right-handed pitching. So.
Yeah.
But Kyle Tucker does, so it's not like it matters for Kyle Tucker.
Verlander has a 4.6 ERA last 4 road playoff starts.
Let's hope that stays. But if he's giving up 4+ runs, let's also hope that you're not giving up 4+ runs like you have in the first 2 games here at home in this series. You can't give up 8 runs and win. You just can't.
I think if Texas loses tonight, they just go ahead and get the reverse sweep 0-2-0-4, and you're done in 6.
It's going to be tough. If you lose tonight, it's going to be really, really tough. I still stay by my Astros and 7 pick. But, yeah, it's going to be really tough for the Rangers.
I also, momentum-wise, feel Astros in 7, but I hope I'm wrong as well. If you win tonight, I'll probably think Texas in 6. I just am that kind of
front runner for when the Rangers win.
Hey,
yeah, I agree.
We both are a little bit in baseball.
I agree. I am. I most definitely am. I picked them to win in 5 because I was so high on them after the first 2 games.
Momentum is a fickle thing.
I forgot the starting pitching drops off dramatically after Montgomery and Evaldi.
Yeah.
You hoped Scherzer was going to be the guy, but he just wasn't.
And I thought we were going to get a Red Sox Evaldi performance from Dunning when he came in, and he could just go 7 innings out of the bullpen early, but that didn't happen either.
I think if you would have started him, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
But he had to get out there. I mean, he was in the bullpen, and Heaney was struggling through that first inning, and he had to get ready quick.
Yeah.
And so whenever you take a guy that's a starting pitcher out of his routine of doing what he does, the long toss before a game, not being the bullpen guy and having to get up and get ready quick takes you out of your whole game. It gives you, you're not ready yet. So
He pitched well. They just pulled him early.
yeah, he pitched well. They pulled him, but I think he should have started Dunning last night. But hindsight's always 2020.
Yeah, I think Bochy probably thinks that too.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No. Need the Rangers and Red Raiders to pull out some wins this weekend.
Yeah, Cowboys bye. Cowboys
Yeah.
bye. So we'll see. I didn't look at Notre Dame. They also have a bye.
Do the Irish coming off the win of epic proportions last week? The Irish needed that win more than anybody. To be honest with you, Notre Dame's on a bye this week.
So there you go. Definitely riding high with the Rangers.
That's right. Because after the game, the head coach from Notre Dame, they asked him how long they were going to be able to savor this victory, and he said probably 48 hours since we have a bye next week.
There you go.
It's done a heck of a job.
You're also, if you lose to, not to pile on here, if you lose to BYU, now you have to sit for a week and a half because you don't play until TCU. That's going to be tough for the Texas Tech fans.
Yeah, if you lose, it's tough for Texas Tech fans anyways, because you just feel like this was a very promising season. There was so much hype going into the season from the coaching staff. Joey McGuire was talking about how great this team was, how well-rounded they are. Obviously, the injury bug can bite at any given time. Takes Tyler Shuck. I know everybody didn't want Tyler Shuck playing quarterback anymore. But whenever the injury bug bites your starting quarterback, and then in the same game that your starting quarterback gets hurt, your backup quarterback, the number 2, Baron Morton, hurts his shoulder in that same game, and then his shoulder's been banged up. And last week they say it was a shoulder. Some people say it's a concussion. We don't know what to believe because we don't get injury reports from Texas Tech football. So you're just going off of hearsay.
It was undisclosed.
It was undisclosed, which makes you think that it might have been something worse than a shoulder injury. So we'll see. But yeah, the injury bug can come up and bite you and change this season dramatically. I don't care who you are. It just does. So, it just is what it is. If you lose in Provo, then your chances of making a bowl are at about 8%.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Just looking at the rest of the schedule, TCU playing well.
Yeah, finally.
Kansas playing well. UCF is UCF. And then Texas playing well. I mean, that's a tough stretch to get bowl eligible if you need to win 3.
Yeah. The only game in there I think I see you winning is UCF.
Yeah. And that one's at home.
Yeah. And the good news is you have TCU at home. Like, you could win 2 of those. That's why I think you have to win this one at BYU, because those 2 games are the only 2 games I think you have left that you're going to win.
Yeah.
Because I think you lose at Kansas and you definitely aren't winning in Austin this year.
Now,
it's not going to happen.
You needed 3 in a row to clinch bowl eligibility. Well, I guess you needed 2 in a row to clinch bowl eligibility. You clinched before the last week of the season. You finished 7-5, but
yeah.
Oh man, I don't know.
But you also had different quarterback play going on too.
Well, Tyler Shuck, the guy that people didn't want going into this year.
Yeah, true.
All right. Again, that's all I have. I guess we had about 10 more minutes there, but that's all I have now. Go Rangers.
Yeah, go Rangers. Peace.